Virtuals
Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you live or work in an urban area, you know the pressure is relentless. Cities are running faster than ever, and that speed, well, it comes with a huge cost. We're talking about crushing congestion, toxic air quality, and just that constant feeling that the infrastructure is buckling under the strain. Our mission today is simple. We're going to shortcut you to being well-informed about the surprisingly revolutionary role that the humble bicycle is playing in solving these complex urban crises. We're looking at the future of mobility, and it really does have two wheels. We have to start, I think, by framing the sheer scale of this, the global urbanization problem. The numbers are, well, they're striking. Data from the United Nations shows that more than half of the global population now lives in urban areas, and that figure is projected to increase to around 2/3 by 2050.
Two-thirds.
That's billions of people pouring into cities that already feel full.
And that number, that's what defines the necessity of this change. What fascinating here is that the streets we use today, they were often designed for a completely different pace of life.
Right.
Built for horse-drawn carriages before they were adapted for the car. They simply cannot absorb this kind of population growth. And this is a global issue, not just a Western one. We're seeing reports that the strain on infrastructure is massive everywhere. If we don't pivot, emissions will choke the very life out of these growing urban centers. That's why we're seeing places like sub-Saharan Africa actively integrating electric bikes into their transport mix right now.
Not as a niche product.
No, not at all. As a critical tool to reduce congestion and improve air quality immediately, this shift is essential, not merely desirable.
Okay, let's unpack this with perhaps the most dramatic case study of rapid transformation we have right now, Paris. I mean, this is a city that has long symbolized that beautiful, chaotic French car culture. But in just the last few years, its relationship with the automobile has fundamentally changed. The sources show the change was really driven by two massive, unforeseen catalysts.
Huge ones.
First, you had the disruptive 2019 public transport strikes that just paralyzed the city. And then almost immediately after, the pandemic lockdown.
So if you needed to move safely and reliably, what were your options?
Exactly. Suddenly, the only viable option for so many people was personal transit.
And that created a huge surge in demand that had been, well, it had been suppressed for years. The city had already begun investing in cycling.
A little bit, yeah.
And the investment paid off immediately. We have the specific data points. Bike counting data showed a doubling of usage on bicycle lanes between 2022 and 2023, just during peak hours.
A doubling in 1 year.
And in some specific sectors, cycling has actually tripled. But the most striking point, and this was highlighted by Le Monde, it signals a genuine change in the city's structure. During peak hours, bikes now reportedly outnumber cars on specific representative axes of the capital.
So we're talking major thoroughfares.
Major ones. Avenue de Flandre, Boulevard Magenta. It's not just catching up to cars, it's overtaking them in real time.
That shift from car dominance to bike dominance on key roads it's incredible. But political will, that usually comes with intense political friction. That level of transformation didn't happen smoothly just because people felt like riding bikes. Mayor Anne Hidalgo and her Socialist Party, their initiative to aggressively reduce car space, that was met with significant public pushback, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The transformation relies on overcoming decades of established habits. And the sources make it clear that infrastructure is often the political battlefield first. You had traditional business owners complaining bitterly about losing street parking.
Yes.
Commuters who were used to driving pushed back hard against removing car lanes. The challenge was proving that the long-term benefits reduced pollution, faster throughput, outweighed that immediate disruption.
And the city supported the shift by making cycling accessible. They didn't just paint lines on the road.
No, they backed it up with infrastructure and services.
Right, like the public bike sharing service, Villa Metropole.
Which is key.
Mm-hmm.
It makes that alternative so accessible to tourists and locals alike.
It shows that political strategy and public infrastructure are, well, they're inseparable if you want widespread adoption. That move by Mayor Hidalgo proves political will can drive massive change. But is the public ready for this globally? Here's where it gets really interesting. Moving from that one city's success story to the global market data.
And the market suggests a resounding yes. This isn't just a localized European curiosity.
Right.
It is a booming industry responding to a global need. The Statista data, it paints a picture of massive market robustness. For example, in 2021, Over 22 million bikes were sold in the European Union.
22 million.
In Great Britain, sales hit 3.25 million bikes that year, an increase of over 11% from the year before. And even in the Netherlands, which is already a cycling stronghold, you had over 3,000 bike shops in 2021.
And what about outside of Europe?
Looking at the U.S., participation totals over 51 million people. That's a huge engaged user base.
So we have the necessity, right, driven by this rapid urbanization. And we have the massive booming market confirming that public interest and economic viability are aligned. But for you listening, maybe prepping for a meeting, or just trying to understand the long-term value here, what's the core pitch? Why is the bicycle the undisputed, scalable future of urban mobility?
Well, our sources synthesize 5 key benefits that explain the so what. It goes far beyond just simple green transportation. Let's tackle the most immediate impact first. Reduce traffic congestion.
The big one.
It is, and it's a matter of pure math. Think about how much space a car takes up. A traditional car lane might move, 700, 800 people per hour? That same width of space, you convert it into a protected bike lane, it can move upwards of 7,000 people per hour.
Wow.
The space efficiency is 10 times better,
Yeah.
which is vital in dense city centers where space is the most finite resource you have.
And when you free up that space and increase efficiency, you immediately get these massive environmental benefits.
Instantly.
We're talking zero greenhouse gas emissions, zero pollutants. That's crucial for air quality, especially when you add in the reduced noise pollution.
Absolutely. The third benefit is the direct systemic health and fitness impact. Cycling is an excellent form of moderate exercise. So cities encouraging its use aren't just improving individual health, they are proactively tackling public health crises like obesity and heart disease.
So it's preventative urban planning, really.
It is, and that could potentially reduce massive long-term healthcare costs.
Then there's the sheer practicality of cost effectiveness. For the user, the cost of a bike versus a car, it's astronomical.
Night and day. But for the city, the difference is equally staggering. Investing in protected bike lanes and all this micromobility infrastructure is vastly more cost-effective than expanding roadways or building new tunnels.
Or heavy rail systems.
Exactly. Finally, when you stack all these elements up, they contribute to making cities more livable. Less noise, less visual clutter, encouraging community-oriented, active lifestyles.
And getting more green spaces when we start repurposing all that land currently dedicated to car parking.
It all connects.
When you stack those 5 benefits up, the congestion solution, environmental returns, health benefits, cost savings, and livability, it makes a prediction cited in Forbes seem like an inevitability.
I know the one you mean.
Yeah, transport experts surveyed, they predict that personal car use in cities simply won't be sustainable in the near future. They suggest policymakers will have to legislate to actively remove cars from the urban core.
Leaving bicycles and buses as the dominant modes.
That's a huge prediction about policy shifts because it implies a legislative forcing mechanism, not just a gradual cultural shift.
It does. The question is no longer if cars will be reduced, but how fast and, well, how aggressively that policy will be enforced.
Precisely. Now, let's pivot a bit, away from the daily commute and focus on this quiet revolution happening in logistics and servicing. I'm talking about the rapid rise of the cargo bike. This shift is incredibly visible in London, which is one of the world's most congested freight hubs. You've got tradespeople, electricians, plumbers, gardeners who traditionally relied on vans. Now they're adopting these high-capacity, pedal-driven cargo e-bikes.
And the UK government is seriously committed to this. It's actively encouraging it through the Transport Decarbonization Plan. They're specifically targeting last-mile deliveries. You know, the ones that plague city centers.
And Transport for London.
TfL, yeah. They published a detailed cargo bike action plan. They advocate for them as clean, safe, efficient, and affordable alternatives to traditional vans stuck in traffic. London's dedication to this is serious. The mayor's transport strategy sets this monumental goal.
It's an ambitious one.
Very. By 2041, 80% of all journeys are to be made by walking, cycling, and public transport. And cargo bikes are essential to hitting that freight and servicing part of the target. They can replace diesel vans running into the ultra-low emission zone.
This shift isn't just anecdotal either. There's hard research supporting it. A study in Science Direct looked specifically at cargo bike sharing. It found that the availability of these shared heavy-duty bikes significantly contributes to reducing private car ownership.
So it's a proven van replacement.
It's proving to be, yeah. The study must have identified the psychological reasons for the switch, though. What were the user motives?
That's where the analysis gets really interesting because it divides motivations into two camps. Users overwhelmingly see cargo bikes as superior in terms of what they call effective and symbolic motives.
Which means?
It means they feel better using them. They're environmentally sound, they represent a positive social image, and they offer tremendous flexibility and price savings. The emotional and financial case is closed.
So there's always a but.
There is. The study highlighted a crucial gap on the pragmatic side. This is where we need to get into the jargon. The raw performance data, what the researchers call instrumental attributes. Things like superior crash safety, sheer speed over long distances, and climate-controlled comfort. That's still where the traditional van or car wins.
So the emotional and environmental benefits are locked in, but the pragmatic utility case is still catching up. That raises a major question for cities. What needs to change for mass adoption of cargo bikes to fully replace the majority of van trips?
Exactly. We need to close that instrumental gap.
Yeah.
And that leads us perfectly into our final section, the emerging trends in tech and urban design that are working to resolve those very issues of safety, speed, and comfort.
Let's start with the technology itself because it's rapidly closing that utility gap, starting with the e-bike.
A total game changer.
Electric bikes have just exploded in popularity because they're potent motors and extended battery life. They fundamentally change the urban landscape. They chew up steep hills, they flatten long distances. It just reduces the physical effort needed.
Which makes cycling viable for a much, much wider range of ages and fitness levels.
Right. This is why we call them a micromobility solution. They are motorized and personal. They fill that gap between walking and driving.
And the models themselves are getting highly specialized for urban needs. We're moving beyond just recreational bikes. We're seeing powerful utility features like hydraulic disc brakes for superior stopping power in wet city conditions.
A must-have.
Or front suspension forks to handle potholes smoothly, and internally geared hubs for extremely low maintenance.
That's essential when a bike is your daily workhorse, not just a weekend toy.
Exactly.
Beyond the hardware, we're seeing shifts in the design of the city itself. This is critical. I saw a piece highlighting the growing trend of mobility hubs.
Oh, yeah.
You can think of these as like multimodal mini stations.
A good way to put it.
They offer a range of options: secure bike sharing, scooter rentals, charging stations, public transport connections.
They centralize the concept of mixed mode transport, and they are strategically located to solve that famous first mile last mile problem.
And those hubs signal a broader policy shift away from that traditional car-centric focus.
They do. Urban design is creating redesigned streetscapes that include protected areas specifically for cyclists and micromobility users, often by narrowing car lanes or removing them entirely.
And this all ties back to the ultimate benefit: urban real estate.
Right. As more people adopt e-bikes and businesses adopt cargo e-bikes,
Which replace motor vehicle trips effectively.
the demand for private motor vehicle parking is expected to decline dramatically,
And that frees up immensely valuable urban real estate.
which can then be converted into green spaces, public plazas, or even housing. It completes the livability cycle.
So we've covered the dramatic policy shifts in Paris, the sheer scale of the global market, the logistics revolution in London with cargo bikes, and the tech and infrastructure changes that support them. Bicycles are, without question, the silent, efficient harbingers of a necessary transportation revolution.
And as we close, let's circle back to that Science Direct study finding, the one that provided the deepest insight. That remaining gap in those instrumental attributes, the safety, speed, and comfort that the traditional car still offers. While cargo bikes and e-bikes are clearly winning on cost, flexibility, and environmental motives, this means improvements are still needed to fully enhance their competitiveness against the car on pure utility. The challenge isn't convincing people that bikes are good, it's convincing them that bikes are demonstrably better than cars on every single metric that matters for daily life and logistics.
And that leaves us with a profound question for you to mull over. How fast can cities close that remaining instrumental gap between the traditional car and the rapidly evolving bicycle? And what specific legislative or technological changes like mandatory e-bike features or highly protected highway-like bike arteries will drive that final wave of mass systemic adoption? Thank you for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.
Spirituals